Hi everyone, welcome back to J Journey's YouTube channel. My name is Natalie and today I have a very special guest and a friend on the channel called Gabriella, and it's so nice
Hi.
to have you here, Gabby. Thank you for being here. So
Thank
you
you for the
are a
invite.
yoga teacher, you are a great longboard surfer, you live the majority of the year in the tropics in Costa Rica, but also in Biarritz in California, hosting retreats and working as a yoga teacher. And I'm so happy to have you here to pick your brain on your life, your story, how you discovered yoga, what your cycle or your progress of surfing and becoming such a skilled surfer, and how that's impacted your life. So welcome first and foremost, and please introduce yourself a bit further.
Thank you so much. That was so nice to hear somebody else describe me.
There's so much to say. I was just picking the small nuggets.
Yeah, but that was super beautiful. Yeah, I think that covers it kind of. I would describe myself as a free spirit who chooses to follow my heart and go with the flow of life instead of forcing and thinking what makes sense and how it would make sense to live. Um that's how I've been living the past years. So that's been taking me to Costa Rica a lot of travels. It's been taking me to the ocean and nature a lot.
That's so beautiful, because you discovered yoga like 5, 6, no, maybe 10 years ago, when you were living in London or something.
Yeah, so that's now 13 years ago.
Oh, okay, wow.
No, 12 years ago. Yeah, it's a long time ago.
Yeah.
And then I went to a yoga class, and I never I heard about yoga, but I didn't really know what it was. And I was like, oh, I wonder what this is. And I really remember the first class I ever went to, because I was 19. So the teacher in the class said, he described how to take a full breath, and he was like, use the belly. And I was like, whoa, this is the first time ever I bring my breath further down than here.
Yeah.
And that was in the beginning of the class, and it just changed my life.
Oh,
That's really
bumps.
Yeah, I really, really remember it so clearly, because I think there's so many of, especially young girls, who tend to breathe a lot up here. And that, of course, creates a lot of anxiety, and you cannot think clearly when you breathe up here. So I was like, oh, I feel good from this. And I started going back and doing more. And wherever I went after that, I tried to find yoga and just felt way better.
Yeah. That's so beautiful.
So that's how I got into it. And then, so the first part was the breathing, and then everything that comes with that. So
and
the posture.
Because then you studied nutrition, right, at university?
Yeah, because I was already interested in
embarked
health.
on the health path.
Yeah, I was already interested in health, and I really loved to experiment, like making recipes. I've always been very creative in all the ways, like everything from playing music, singing, dancing, making food, and having everything nice around me. So nutrition got in through that way. That I was interested in cooking and baking, and that was really a passion for a while.
Yeah, and I know you're in the beginning of your Instagram journey. That was what you did, right? You shared beautiful pictures of colorful food and acai bowls and smoothie bowls, and yeah.
Exactly. I was super passionate about that, and I love to create things. As I said, with creativity, and yoga is a part of that too, like designing flows and like an expression of what's going on the inside, kind of.
Definitely. And I feel also that yoga can help you get more creative in some way. For myself, that practicing a lot of yoga makes me want to create, and like it gets the whole system going a bit, and you feel inspired and you get more energy. And I mean, all of us are creative. It's just that we have it, like some of us are a bit tapped out of it, maybe because we're not in our bodies, or we're not connected to that like power and expression that we have inside.
Exactly. That's what yoga has like always been to me. It's a tool to get down to my body and to my heart instead of being up here. Because I think as a teenager, I was a lot up here and I was so worried about things that really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So that's my tool. Like now also to like when I find myself being up here and feeling anxiety or like stressed or like thinking about things that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's like meditation is my tool usually, or just taking a few breaths to bring myself down to the heart. And sometimes it's hard and sometimes it doesn't work at all.
Yeah, it's easier said than done, but it's nice once you have the tool in your toolbox, because then you know that if you catch yourself like in a funk, or that you're a bit thinking about the future or whatever, like just like get back into your body, and here and now everything's okay.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you started doing like yoga teacher trainings, because you quite early on in your 20s started working with yoga and traveling, and you discovered surfing. Like how did surfing come into your life?
Surf, yeah. I studied nutrition in Sweden in university, and then I graduated and realized I didn't want to work with. Sometimes nutrition can be super important and like such a good tool to know all the things, but it can also be very like rational and like facts and only like numbers instead of something creative, which was what I wanted. So I graduated and realized I didn't want to work with that.
Yeah.
And decided to go to Bali to do a yoga teacher training only for myself, which a lot of yoga teachers say. I don't know if you said
I
the
was
same, right?
exactly the same. I was like, both my 200-hour and my 300-hour, I was like, I'm not becoming a teacher. I'm just doing it to learn more about yoga and my own practice.
I said exactly the same. And I went to Bali, did my yoga training, and traveled a bit after, came back to Sweden and went to my boss. I was working in a reception at the moment, and the first day I went into my boss and said, no, I'm not going to be behind a computer. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I trusted, and I just quit.
On the spot.
And since that, everything has been so flowing, and I really believe that like when we make decisions from our hearts, that's when life has an opportunity to come to us, because we don't like setting up any fence.
I think that's
so since
so
that,
cool with
everything
how
has been flowing.
Sorry, I think that's so cool with how you live your life, how, because I've been around you, how you live, and it really is that way, that you decide on something, or you set a direction, or you're like, let's see what life brings to me, and you're like rooted in what's important for you and what you want, and it just works. Like it literally is flow with Gabriella. It's like, okay, like it's quite cool to watch it. And I know that you're also a manifester in human design, and I don't know that much about it, but it's cool to see you in action, because you really just like everything just comes, like it just flows into your life. Not that it's always easy, but it's like you trust so deeply, and then the universe rewards you, or like the universe provides for you.
Yeah, it's beautiful to hear you say that, because sometimes I for sure feel like nothing is flowing, of course, and maybe it takes time sometime, but I think it's important to have that trust in that things will work out.
Because then you quit that job, and from one thing to another, you ended up starting to work for a big retreat company as a yoga teacher, which has kind of brought you on traveling the world basically with yoga and surfing.
So surfing came to my life after I quit my job. I decided to go traveling. So I went to Sri Lanka, tried surfing for the first time. I've always loved the ocean. It's always been my element. So I think I've always had the idea that I was a surfer girl, because I
Yeah.
always wanted to have this like long, salty hair. And when I was a kid, I remember whenever I was like upset with my parents or something, I always ran away to the ocean, and I sat there on a cliff and just looking at the water.
Mm.
So I've always been drawn to the ocean, and decided that I have to learn to surf if I'm going to be a surfer girl.
It's kind of part of it.
Yeah. And of course, it was so hard in the beginning, and it's still so hard. It's so much to learn, and it looks so easy, which can be super frustrating, but it's also hard sometimes.
Yeah.
But I tried it in Sri Lanka, and then went to Costa Rica to travel, and I wanted to travel all the places. I went with a backpack the first time. A small backpack with like clothes like rolled up, and I wanted to go to Costa Rica, Mexico, and Nicaragua, and all the places. And I began with Costa Rica and then stayed for like 7 years.
I remember in the beginning when when we first met, and you were like, yeah, I haven't really traveled around very much in Costa Rica. I was like, but you've been there quite a long time. You were like, yeah, I kind of came here and then I just found myself staying. And that's what's so cool, that you really like created a base there and have more of like roots.
Yeah, that was also a part of like trusting what feels right. Because before that, I've always been restless. I've always wanted to explore and see new places. And before that, I could never picture going back to a place that I already been, because I wanted to check my box with like, I want to see this. And since Costa Rica, that's the only place I want to go.
But it has that kind of, it sucks you in because the lifestyle's so amazing. So it's like, where else could be better, kind of.
Yeah. And I
I'm
had a lot of like work opportunities coming to me, which also felt like a sign that I can be here.
That's so beautiful. But okay, so when it comes to the surfing, I mean, I'm not a surfer. Maybe I will be one day. I mean, you never know, never say never. But what would you say? Because what I gather from being around surfers is that the ocean teaches you very much lessons about life in general, like to have discipline, to go with the flow, to surrender, like all these kind of things. What would you say, like, are your biggest takeaways from learning to surf? And like, for the people listening to this, Gabby is a really good surfer at this point. You've really like progressed, and like you started out like a beginner, and everyone are a beginner at some point, but you've really like, you're very skilled at this point. So what would you say that journey has involved for you?
Yeah, that's very beautiful reflection. Like I really feel like the ocean is teaching me a lot, and everybody who surfs. Um, in the beginning, I remember I had the same feeling in the ocean as I did like meditating or like being deep in a yoga flow or something, because it's, there's no cell phones there, so there's like no distractions. You're only there in nature and surrounded by your friends, and like water is also so purifying. So I remember I always felt so good, and I could always feel if I had a day that I didn't surf. Um, so yeah, I think it's teaching me a lot through that, like being off distractions,
Yeah.
because that makes me be in my heart. And you have to be present, because you can, like, if you're not present, you're gonna have a wave crash on your head.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have to be there the whole time, present and just being in nature. And I think that is giving us a lot. And it can be in other ways also, like if you're more into, I don't know, skiing or like hiking without reception on your phone, like it's probably the same.
Yeah. And I guess as well with the, as you said, like you're in the sun, you're in the like salt water, like all these things are doing so much good stuff for our energy. So it makes sense that it's a bit addicting. But
Yeah.
it's also what I find with surfing, and I think that's kind of where I can't really, I haven't made myself go all the way, is that it's a sport. It's like, it's not, you need to have a bit of grit. You need to, like, you get a wave over you and then you need to be like, all right, but let's go out again. You know, you need to have, I find surfers to be very tough people, even though like you can be like happy, like you have to have a bit of stamina, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. It's a lot of patience practice. I
Yeah.
can be so frustrated sometimes.
Yeah.
Like patience is all the way. Either you're super eager to surf and there's a lot of people stealing the waves or like taking the waves, or you're paddling out and there's another wave crashing on your head and another one and another one. I can be yelling at the water sometimes. So yeah, it's that it teaches me as well the patience.
Mm. I remember a surf instructor told me, because I, at one point I had like a breakdown and I was like, oh, I don't want to surf, like let's not do this. And he was like, the funny thing is I'm more of a therapist than an instructor, because people get like all their emotions come to surface when they come to the surfing, because they get like frustrated, they get frustrated with themselves, they get frustrated with the waves, they get angry at the board, you know, like all these things. So it's also in that way, I guess, a bit purifying, because you kind of like, okay, you have to just like breathe through it and then come out on the other side and be like, all right, now I'm ready to catch a wave.
Yeah, definitely. That makes a lot of sense. It's like a therapy session to be inside
Yeah.
in the water. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's, yeah, I've been thinking about that the waves are a reflection of life, kind of like it's constantly changing. I find that very beautiful too, that the tides are changing all the time. You never know. So you cannot expect anything. You
Yeah.
cannot look at the forecast because it will not be exactly like that anyway, because it's
Yeah.
unpredictable and there's always another wave coming. So it's like a beautiful reflection of life.
Mm. And how would you say, because that's what I like about, or what I find interesting with you, that you're both on the very into yoga and have done like the teaching or the training in Bali, but you also did like a 300-hour in Mexico, and you've been practicing for many, many years yourself. What would you say, like yoga and surfing? Why? Because I know that a lot of people know that they're good to mix, but what would you say, who's somebody who mixes it very much? What are the benefits of mixing?
I would say both the physical part, of course, like stretching, like the body for the body after surf, of course.
Yeah.
And also you need the flexibility in surfing. So for that, it's good to mix it. But also, as I said, it goes so much hand in hand with like meditation and patience and presence. So I think surfers who don't do yoga, they do meditation every day, even though they don't know it, because they
Yeah.
are meditating in the water.
Yeah. And I think it's cool with surfing because, as you said, you have to be so present to actually catch the wave. Like it's literally on a like millisecond basis with timing, and in order to really get in the right spot at the right time. And I think that when it comes to like controlling the mind, because you have to be very focused, but you also have to be very surrendered and open, right? And I think that that's so, it feels very similar to the state that yoga kind of gets you to as well, that you're like very present and very open, but also focused. Not because sometimes I think people think that with yoga that we just get totally like this, but it's actually making us giving us a lot of clarity.
Exactly. And yoga is also the energy, the strength, in the position, like there's energy, but you're soft and
Yeah.
you're like, you relax your face and like it's both the softness and the strength. I
Yeah.
like that.
Me too. It's like, what did they say? Like stability and ease, or like having ease and effort at the same time, like the yin
Yeah.
and yang.
I think you would love surfing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to convince you.
Maybe when I go to the tropics the next time, I'm gonna take it upon myself, because I think I can see myself actually do it. It's just that I think I've had this barrier with all the hustle kind of that I'm like, I just want to like lie on the beach and chill.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree, and I think as well. I mean, you spoke about the water and what that water element is very healing, and you're very connected to it. And I mean, it's so beautiful to see that you connect a lot with the water, but also with the moon. Like you live very in flow and connection to the season and the nature around you, which is so beautiful. Like the the water kind of guides you a bit, I guess. Because you always stay close to water, I guess.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah, I can feel it when, because sometimes I have an idea, I want to go somewhere else, you know, like visiting a city is also can be like beautiful. But I always feel like something's missing. It sounds ridiculous, but I really do.
Yeah.
I want to see this open horizon, and it makes me feel very free.
Yeah, I guess that's also a thing about the sea that I also resonate with, that it represents kind of freedom because it's so open and like there's so many possibilities, and like a city or where you can't see the horizon and be closer to water, it feels a bit for me claustrophobic.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that can be the thing with the ocean. I love that sense of freedom. At the same time, I feel like home.
Yeah. But that's, I guess, a theme in your life as well, that you mentioned that you're a bit of a free spirit, and I guess with you live a very free life where you're like you create your own life kind of thing. What would you say like are the biggest insights, or how do you think about freedom?
Freedom. I think freedom used to be for me to travel as much as possible and
Yeah.
to not have any commitments and doing whatever I want. The past like few years, I've been starting to think more about that freedom, sometimes it's restricting to like not have any roots. So for now, I would say freedom is more like having your base, like having your routine and your ways, and maybe have a few roots here and there.
Yeah.
Because then when you have that, then it's easier to flow.
I
Right?
feel that, yeah. It's kind of like having if you think about the feminine and the masculine energy, having like a masculine structure so that there is some kind of container for you to flow within it.
Yeah,
Otherwise, it can become very overwhelming and ungrounded.
exactly. So that's what I've like working on right now. Because for a while I wanted to be a total free spirit and not live anywhere because I wanted to be able to go wherever I wanted. And now I'm more working on creating my roots so that I can travel from there and like have, I don't know, you know what I mean? Like have a more
Have the
freedom.
opportunity to do other things, but also having some kind of center where you can start.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I resonate a lot with that, and I think that that's the thing about freedom. I think I'm also a person that seeks a lot of freedom, but it's freedom is quite kind of a deep concept, because I find what I'm realizing more and more that it's more of an internal state of mind to be like to feel free, as you said, like in the daily life, that the on the inside. And I think as well with yoga, that yoga opens up us to be more free on the inside, like we're creating more space, we can breathe more freely, we're more open, and to just be in that state, then I'm free. But then I can also, like, I want a free life as well, but it's kind of, that's just the inside and the outside kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
But it's interesting with roots as well, because I guess like in one way we're as a humans we're like nomadic in one part of our nature, like we wander, we explore, we discover new things. But I think home is also important, and like I guess as well as you get older you realize more and more the value that having a sense of home in the physical world, not just like, oh, I'm at home with myself or in my body or like in nature, but like actually having a physical home has its benefits.
Right? Because I
Yeah.
think some years ago when I was new to yoga and all of that, all the yoga people, I don't know, or the ones I heard, were saying like, you're home in yourself. And I was like, yeah, I'm home in myself.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
it
You don't
also,
need
as you
it.
said, exactly as you said, I think it's also has its benefits of having the physical place.
Definitely. And I guess it's that thing about not going into any extremes, but like having some kind of middle way, that you don't need to be a total free, you can be a free spirit, but you can have grounded like places as well, and then, as
Yeah,
you said, flow within it.
exactly.
That's so beautiful. And what
Yeah.
would you say, like, now in your life are like themes or like things that you're looking forward to? I know you have like an online platform for yoga. You teach
Mm,
yoga a lot in Costa Rica, but now you're back in Sweden, and I guess you're going to Biarritz soon to
yes.
retreats for surf and yoga. What's like the coming months? I know you're moving back or going back to Costa Rica, that's your base, but do you have any
Yeah.
fun plans or visions or dreams or projects?
Oh, I love that question. We haven't talked about that either.
No, I
Um,
don't know.
so I go to Biarritz in 3 weeks
Mm.
for retreats. And then I'm going back to Sweden for a little bit to visit. I have a house and a car in Costa Rica, so I will go back there. I think I will go back there in November, because it's raining a lot before that. So I'm trying
Yeah.
to avoid that when it's no waves anyway. So for those months in between, I don't know yet. But
Exciting.
yeah, it feels exciting. And also like we'll see where it takes me. But I'm in the theme, as I said before, of like creating bases instead of traveling to a lot of places. So
So
we'll see if that will be.
potentially Biarritz could be a base.
Yeah, I think that's the plan.
Mm. Yeah, because you like it over there and it suits you to be in France, I feel.
Yeah, I've been trying several times to have a base in Sweden. Right now I'm in Gothenburg, so it's the ocean here anyway. But yeah, I miss the surfing.
Yeah. I think that
And
you
it's
have to, when it comes to the point when you surf as much as you do, you kind of have to have a life adopted around the waves. Otherwise,
yeah,
it doesn't feel like fair on your interests, I guess. It's a lifestyle.
yeah, and I want it to be a part of my everyday life. So I think that's the transition I'm in at the moment. I've been doing a lot of retreats for so many years,
Yeah.
in so many places of the world, but I want to do less retreats right now and more focus on teaching daily classes and or like weekly classes and having the same customers coming. And
Yeah.
yeah, that sounds very beautiful and exciting to me right now.
Yeah, more like nourishing and grounding in general.
Yeah.
I resonate a lot with that. I think that when you've explored a lot and you've been like living and traveling, and it comes to a point where you're quite saturated with like the new stuff, and I find that I need time to just integrate all the stuff, that all the people you've met, all the experiences, like to just like let everything land a bit. And for that you need more of a daily just normal life with not so much new craziness. You just want simplicity.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's like everything, you need the both. That's also a part of yoga, like the yin and the yang. Like we really need both. And for a while I was traveling a lot,
Yeah.
summer to summer to summer. So it was always this young energy. Always like a lot of things happening around me, a lot of people. And last year I had a phase where I was really craving the yin.
Yeah.
And I took some time to really like be in the yin energy, and I could find how good I felt from that.
And I think that's this thing, and it's maybe something that we have in common, because we love life a lot and we love like getting up early, we love doing our yoga, we love being creative and doing stuff and enjoying the like sunsets, and that becomes a bit even though it's like within the world of health and wellness, it almost becomes a bit too much yang, as you said.
Yeah.
Like I really find that I need more for it to be sustainable. I need more, not only yin like yoga, but more like yin lifestyle and like moments of more yin, and like because that nourishes me so much. Like now I almost, not every day, but many days I have a nap in the afternoon, and that's like really to just like, sometimes I do some yin yoga or something, and it's so grounding, and I get so much energy from doing that, even though it's like a very mellow little pause.
Yeah, right. I think that is really what it's about, like listening into your heart also and being in your body. Because it can also be the other way. Like maybe you're more drawn to the yin usually, so then you need the yang. But
Yeah,
just like being aware of what you need. That's like what yoga is all about for me.
definitely.
So
And I think,
recently it's been more like practicing slow living and doing things slower and more mindfully for me. And it's been feeling really great.
that's so lovely. And I mean, because I've seen you also like in action when you're hosting retreats and you're taking care of a lot of people, you're meeting new people, you're holding space. Like it's quite a draining. Not, it can give energy, of course, but it's a lot of responsibility, and to like take care of others,
Yeah.
you have to take care of yourself first. And it's easy, I find, as a yoga teacher or someone that's like holding space and facilitating that, to remember that, whoa, I need to now just regroup so that I can show up in a like full way for other people.
I think that that's the thing with retreats, that when you host a retreat, there's no way to take care of yourself.
No.
Unless maybe like you have like free time or you live somewhere else and you can go home and like completely just like shut down your phone and be in a bubble. But I think retreats are often where you just let yourself be and you put all your energy into these people in this group, and then you need to fill up more energy after. That's what it's been for me.
And I guess as well, when you live in the jungle, the high and the low season also becomes so clear, like indicators of the yin and the yang, and how necessary it is to also be in the like rainy season a bit, and like actually not be in summer mode all year round. I think we've both realized that that doesn't
Exactly.
work.
Now I love rainy season in Costa Rica. It's my favorite now.
Yeah, it's so nourishing and so cozy.
Yeah, you don't need to go up with the sunrise at 6. You can actually sleep in and
yeah, it's luxury.
yeah, right?
Yeah.
But it's interesting that it really goes in phases. Because right now I think I'm more in a young phase, because I had a lot of yin and slower living, and now I'm feeling a lot of energy and I want to meet people, and I'm like feeling like socializing and all of that. So it really goes back and forth.
Yeah. And I think you mentioned as well about like following your heart. And I think that's, we touched upon it before, and it's something that you're very good at, and you're very connected to your heart. So I was just curious, for those listening, can you share a bit more about your process and your philosophy, and how you try to live more from your heart, and if there's stuff you do? I know that you do like journaling and you meditate and all these things, but I think it's something that you're very good at, and something that a lot of other people can do more of.
Thank you. For me, I'm a person who always been needing a lot of my own space. I think I'm both. I love to socialize, and I have so many close friends that I'm talking to so often. I have so many long voice notes on my phone, and so I really love my friends. But the best way for me to be in my body and to like follow my intuition and know what I want is to be alone, usually in nature. Yeah, so what I try to do at least several times a week, I would love to do it every day, but like to be alone in nature and journal.
Mm.
In Costa Rica, it's very easy to like in the sunset, just like sit with your journal on the beach. But that really helps me to, yeah, to feel what I want. Because I also get very, when I'm talking to a friend, I can very easily get inspired.
Yeah.
Because I, as you said, I love life, and I'm like, I can picture myself like living another kind of life also.
Mm.
And maybe I talk to somebody who live in another way, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's super exciting. Maybe I should also move
Mm.
to New York or whatever.
Yeah.
And then like, wait a minute, what do I want?
Mm.
So I
Yeah,
need quality time in nature with myself, and journaling is a very good tool to see like concrete on a piece of paper what is going on in my mind.
yeah. No, I resonate a lot with that. And I think as well when it comes to like, because that we live in a day and age where there's so many possibilities of how you can live your life, and it's like there's so many examples of like you can do this thing or you can be this kind of person in the city, and like there's almost a bit overwhelming possibility sometimes. So it's so easy to get caught up in how others live and be like, oh, but that looks really cool, like maybe I, and then you kind of have to be like, but wait a minute, I'm not like them. Like I need other things, and I need maybe to live slower, and maybe I value being in nature more than I value being in some trendy city. You know, it's like so easy, especially I guess through like social media and these channels, to get like to think that you are the other people that are living this cool life.
Yeah, that's been a thing for me with traveling also, that every place I went to for a while, I said, oh, I'm going to move here. And that still happens sometimes. I'm like, oh, I'm going to move here now. Um, so yeah, time by myself
Yeah.
is important for that.
Yeah, because you need to, in order to follow your heart, you need to be able to hear it and like hear so that you can get in touch with it. And I think that for me as well, I need a lot of time alone in general just to be able to get my own clarity so that it's not like affected by all the background noise. Because what I think as well when it comes to like following your heart, that the best thing for everyone else is if you follow your heart, because then you're happy and you're doing your thing. But sometimes if other people, if it doesn't make sense to them what you're doing, even if you're just following your heart, then that can maybe create like mind like fog that will affect you so that you don't follow your heart because it doesn't make sense. Do you understand what I mean?
Exactly. And it's no like expensive or big like advanced tool that you need. The only thing you need is to like get time for
Yeah.
yourself and to disconnect from that noise that's going on outside.
Mm.
I think a lot of people would benefit from just taking maybe a walk in nature without headphones, without music, and just listening to the birds singing and like listen to your thoughts.
Yeah,
Maybe
definitely.
just 20 minutes, like it's not crazy, something crazy that you need, which is beautiful.
But I guess what then follows is with what I see in you, you have a lot of courage, because I think when you start, in order you might get the answer or like this is what I want or this is what I feel like doing or this feels true to me, but then to have the courage to actually book the trip or apply for the job or make the move or sell your, that requires, I guess, courage. So how would you say that you think about courage, and how do you like not limit yourself in terms of like creating the life that you want to live?
Mm, I think that it hasn't even like crossed my mind that it's like or like it didn't used to when I booked my first yoga teacher training in Bali and traveled around alone after, like that was never like a thought that something could happen or like I would be far away from my family, because I was just so excited for all of this. And I was always curious and it felt so right. So I didn't even think that it could not be right.
Yeah, that's so beautiful, and I resonate a lot with that. It's like when you follow your curiosity and just what lights you up, it's all these other things that maybe other people can reflect towards you. You doesn't even think about it. Like
Yeah,
I'm the same. Like I just do what I feel like, and then if if it then it's sometimes it's not until I see other people's reactions that I'm like, oh, maybe not everyone does this.
exactly. I've had the same.
Mm.
Like friends been telling me or family's been telling me like, you're so brave. And I'm like, yeah, am I?
Yeah, it's right. I'm just doing what feels natural to me.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so, yeah, that's funny. And what would you say? Because I feel like you're very talented at photography and like creatively, you're very skilled. And what would you say? Like, well, what are your thoughts about being creative and how to be more maybe in touch with creativity and also like self-expression? Because I feel like it's in this day and age, it's so beautiful that we have platforms where we can like express ourselves, what our passions are, what's going on the inside, and yeah, I'm just curious to hear what your thoughts are about this kind of thing.
Mm, mm, creativity. I think I've always been creative in my core. As a child, I did more like music,
Mm.
singing and playing guitar, playing piano, dancing. I did more of that than like sports.
Yeah.
So I think it's always like been a big part of me. And um, yeah, I feel so good from it. I feel so good like getting an expression. I wanted to be a photographer for a good time, and now I don't use a camera, but it's like I feel creative anyway with, I don't know,
Yeah.
making art of
The
something
iPhone is a
simple.
good camera to just, yeah.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, I think that's a beautiful tool also to make things look beautiful in the
Mm.
most simple way, like seeing the beauty in the simple things and the beauty in life. Um, I see that a lot with like friends and everybody that I see as a creative person. Like a creative person is somebody who can see beauty in the daily things,
Mm.
because you see the details and appreciate it.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't.
That's such
Yeah.
a nice way to think about it, and I think it as well when it comes to like I'm very fascinated, but with like our soul and who we are and this, and I think as you said that a big part of like being human is to create like beautiful things and beautiful moments and like
Mm,
surround ourselves in beautiful spaces. It doesn't have to be like all these like material stuff, but just that's a big part of being here on this planet to just
yeah.
like share and create beautiful things.
Right. And it doesn't have to be something epic either. I love when the beautiful things is like seeing the moonrise from
Mm.
the lineup in the water, but it can also be to like see the colors of the sky in the middle of the city with like traffic noise in the background, but like seeing these like the beauty in wherever you are.
Yeah, it's like if you're present for it, beauty is everywhere.
Mm,
Mm.
exactly. But you
Mm.
have to be present.
Yeah, yeah. It's like you have to look up to see that the sky is blue. Like it's yeah, we're
Yeah,
surrounded by the magic all the time.
exactly.
But that's
And
one
for
thing.
me,
Sorry, go.
for me, the ocean is also an element for that represent creativity.
Mm.
I don't know exactly how, but it feels so like it's always moving and it's always changing and it's always bringing something new. And there's so much under the surface that we don't see. So
Mm.
it also feels like such a creative and exciting element.
I totally agree. And I think as well that the ocean feels very like feminine and flowy. And I guess that's also very close to like creativity as well. Mm. That's so beautiful. It's fun how everything comes back to like nature and the ocean and the sun
Oh,
and
it's ocean.
the I think that's as well something when it comes to living in the jungle a lot and spending a lot of time in nature that really like enhances my creativity but also my appreciation for like beauty and like because everything there just becomes so vivid and beautiful and lush, and like the sunsets, it's like wow, you know.
Mm.
So you, and
Yeah.
even then when you come back to the city, as you said, you'll see like wow, the sky's pink now, and it's like that state of mind is still with you, kind of.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so beautiful. Well, I'm also curious to hear a bit about your, like, because yeah, you following your heart, and you go with the flow and everything. But what would you say? Because you've been on the yogic path for a long time. What would you say are like the biggest insights? We've talked about connecting to the body, silencing the mind, and this and that. But if someone's listening and they haven't maybe tried yoga, or like in general, what would you want to share about your process of being in the world of yoga?
Mm, yeah, it's been a lot of for me with the breathing, I think. And for those who doesn't know much about yoga, like breathing is like one part, and then like the physical is one part, and there's so many more parts. But the breathing has always been the most effective tool for me to go into my body. So yeah, that's how I got hooked on it, and it's always the thing I come back to. Like if I need to be present with my breath when I practice like postures also. And it's really a tool for me to relax. I love to extend my exhale and like focus more on the exhale, because that's what my body more needs. As we've talked about before with the yin and the yang, but for me it's more easy to be on the yang and to be a lot up here, and have all these dreams and all these ideas and manifestations and things. So yoga has been for me so important to like come down to earth.
Yeah. Yeah, it can be very grounding.
Yeah, super grounding.
Mm.
And it's a form of like it's a routine kind of, so it's something that keeps me down here.
Yeah, I resonate a lot with that, and I guess that the breath is such a beautiful tool to get into that present moment, to get into your body. It's like you can shift instantly just by breathing properly.
Exactly. Sometimes I just need 5 breaths and I'm like, oh yeah, this is how it feels.
Yeah. So you mentioned as well about music, and you are a good singer, and you like play the guitar and all these kind of things. I mean, there's so many different angles to you. So I'm like, wait a minute, maybe we should talk about music. When I met you the first time, I think you were also into like mantras and that as well. So you've kind of woven music into your life, even in the yogic field, I guess. And your second yoga teacher training was quite oriented towards music too, right? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was a lot of mantras, and because that I right now I'm not doing it as much.
Yeah.
I'm also sometimes things goes in phases,
Yeah.
but not surfing and not yoga. But right now I don't need that as much, I think. But it's a beautiful, yeah, it's really beautiful in mantras. You've been trying it too. Well,
Yeah.
you've been doing it, of course.
Yeah.
But that's also a form of meditation, like repeating the same things, and also good for the throat chakra.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very good to like express yourself, I guess. Like even just like singing in the shower, it's a very liberating thing.
It is. It's a freedom, and
Yeah.
I think it teaches you like communication and having your voice heard. So I think I was really much into it when I needed to practice that.
Yeah.
So that's cool that I'm like, I feel drawn to something that would teach me something.
Yeah.
Yeah, but with music, I did it a lot as a kid, and I still love my guitar, and I played sometimes, and yeah, I
Yeah.
think many surfers also feels like creative people. I don't
Yeah.
know how that, but I guess it's like the ocean has this like that it has that energy.
Yeah, and like open-mindedness, the like love of life. I guess then you want to dance, you want to create stuff, you want to express yourself. It's kind of very human things, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's interesting with the throat and like because that's I think as well with yoga it really helps you to start speak your truth and like listen and but also voice yourself as well in the world because I think when I started my yoga journey like with going to the yoga teacher trainings and being like I'm not teaching, I'm only doing it for myself. I think that's as well like something that's had to happen to like start to okay, now I'm going to teach people something and start to talk, not just be having everything in my own bubble.
Exactly. Exactly. Because I think many of us who grew up in this part of the world, we, at least many of us, get raised in a way that we're like hiding ourselves a bit. And
Yeah.
we're trying to always be perfect and look a specific way and not say anything wrong. So I think I really needed that for a while to like, okay, it's okay to be wrong. It's okay to not be perfect. And it's okay to tell your truth, even
Yeah.
if it's not somebody else's truth.
I think that like truth is such a like, I guess it's a big theme in yoga as well, but connecting with your own truth and it really helps a lot in like everything in life to get clear on what's important for you and also to like listen to it and as you said even though we might not learn when we grow up to really honor that feels good on the inside but to actually start to follow that it really opens up a lot of freedom and I guess joy and alignment as well in your life.
Exactly. And to understand that we're all the same, but we are all different. We have different truths and it's okay.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be so dramatic.
And accept each other. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. Well, I'm curious to hear if there is anything. I think we've covered a bit of like the music, the yoga, the surfing, a bit of nutrition. Is there anything else like that you feel like sharing today or something that you want to pass on or if there's anything that you'll be offering, I guess yoga classes when you're back in Costa Rica and I'll
Yeah.
link like details to you below so people can follow you on Instagram and see what's going on. But is there anything else that you would like to share or just touch upon?
I think we covered most of it.
Yeah.
But just as a last um recommendation for somebody who wants to live life by following the heart and following the flow more is to like to not be scared of the silence and like be by yourself in nature and say no to things that doesn't feel right. Maybe that's the biggest, I guess that's the first step in following your heart. First you have to say no, because if you say yes to all the things that doesn't align, you don't have space for the right things to flow.
That's so true. And I think that a lot of people maybe because they know that they're not following their heart, it's almost a bit scary to even be in silence because then you have to face what you really want to do.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you might need to make some changes, and that can be a bit difficult sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's
And following the heart doesn't have to be like quitting your job and moving to Costa Rica. I also want to say that.
yeah.
Like following the heart can be to just live exactly as you do, and um, so it's it doesn't have to be that you have to make any big changes. But I think it's a beautiful thing to like be aware of what you want.
That's so true. Sometimes it's like in this space, I guess, as well, people think everything has to be so grand and oh my god, I have to do this and okay, I'm gonna change and I'm gonna do it. Like, it can also just be to like following your heart can be like, okay, let's organize a dinner with my friends tonight.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's so beautiful. I think that's a nice note to end this conversation on. And I'm so happy to have picked your brain a bit on all these subjects and to hear your thoughts and reflections. It's super, super beautiful. And I also feel like there's a lot more when it comes to like surfing. You know a lot about surfing. I mean, I'm not a surfer, so I don't even know where to begin to get it out. But I feel like maybe you could come back and talk more about like the more like how to longboard or how to get started, or people can also, I guess, send you a message if they want to surf or come to a retreat that you're involved in Biarritz. Maybe fully booked, but yeah. We'll link all the details so people can find you below and follow you and see all the nice content from your lovely life.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. It was so nice to catch up a bit, and we'll catch up soon again.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening, everyone. Goodbye.